Good evening, welcome to the Abbey, where it is still pumping hot, which is my excuse for wearing this hat. I hope you're well. I'll try and not let that floodlight get in the way. Norwich have, cool, yeah, they've completed their pre-season friendlies in England this summer. How about that? Just realised that. And they have done so by beating Cambridge United 3-1. It was, well, you know for a fact that I don't like analysing these too deeply, so this won't be a long video. And this was kind of a good example of why, because Norwich looked very lethargic. Obviously, it's quite crushingly hot, I suppose. As Jakob Sørensen said, he doesn't even go on holiday to places that are this hot. Never mind plays football in it. And I think that was probably a bit of the attitude in the first half, where Norwich they went in at half-time 1-0 down, conceded from a corner, didn't look great. They could have been several goals down if it wasn't for Michael McGovern, who played the full 90 minutes and made a string of fine saves. So, Norwich was second best, Cambridge unlucky not to lead by a few goals, to be honest, and it was some excellent goalkeeping. After the break, once they finally got their equaliser, which I can't remember who got the equaliser actually. But once they got their equaliser, it was Gibbs. It was Liam Gibbs, and it kind of went through the goalkeeper a bit from a sort of secondary cross from Anel Hernandez, who backed up Josh Sargent's initial cross pretty well. It was a goalkeeping error though. But as soon as Norwich got level, I thought Cambridge's level themselves kind of dropped, and they couldn't really cope with Norwich after that. Norwich made a lot more changes than Cambridge, so I think they were fresher as the second half wore on as well. And then Jordan Hugill, Norwich won the ball high up, and he slotted home well. And the third goal was really impressive because he kind of took it himself, and it was like one of those goals where a striker only scores if he's feeling really confident, and that shone through in what Jordan did for that third goal. And then Norwich probably could have had more in the end. And as I said, most of those Cambridge players played probably more minutes on average than Norwich players did. So I think the heat probably and everything got better of them. I mean, I had kind of wondered if Norwich had trained quite heavily, because they did seem so sluggish in that first half, but actually they didn't train at all today because it was so hot. Rather than getting them in early and doing some training early, Dean Smith just got them in for some pre-match, and that was it. So no excuses there. But how do you judge it? I mean, it's like Formula One testing, where everyone's sandbagging and you've got no idea what the genuine pace is until you come out of the traps in a competitive session, and that first competitive session ultimately will always be the first game of the season in the Championship. So yeah, there we are. Norwich have two friendlies left, back-to-back games, which, as Dean Smith today said, is something he likes to do. I hadn't really twigged that, but that is to give everyone in the squad basically 90 minutes if possible. So Celtic and then Hibernian. And yeah, you can see a lot of players getting 90 minutes. I think we can see the sort of players that Dean Smith is liking the looks of. So let's run through a few bits. He did say that Christoph Zimmermann has been given an option to join a club. I expect that to be in Germany. Nothing's decided yet. It will be up to Christoph. But it would surprise me now if that isn't completed and he doesn't make a move and leave the club. And obviously he's done some wonderful things here. And here go the lights. And would have probably been fourth choice or whichever here. So you can understand him leaving to get to play some games and probably move back to Germany. So good on him for doing that. Someone else who was missing today was Christos Jolis, who also has some clubs discussing loan moves with him. I will be very interested in terms of where he does end up, because it did seem like Club Brugge was the most likely place. But also the way Dean Smith spoke today was much more, he's got a lot of talent. We won't be able to unlock it this year, but it's important for the club that he gets out and plays, which didn't really strike me as an obligation kind of a loan move, for an eventual departure. But we'll see if that is still part of the plan, because it certainly sounded like that was what Norwich had been looking into. So yeah, maybe they've had a rethink, or maybe they will still go ahead with it. We'll see maybe once that happens. But again, I would kind of expect those things to be done quite quickly. No Sam Byram, they're taking precautions with him. He's strained something. Likewise, Ben Gibson. Obviously, I don't think Sam Byram's played in much of pre-season now, which is a bit of a worry. Liam Gibbs had to cover right back when Max Aarons went off, so you don't really want that situation. But hopefully once pre-season is done and you're into the actual competitive stuff, then Sam will be available, and it won't be about a risk. It'll be about him literally playing football. But there's a chance him and Ben Gibson won't feature in Scotland. Interesting lines as well from Dean Smith about acknowledging that Todd looks like a completely different player, and I think we are seeing a bright, breezy Todd Cantwell who just seems to have had some of the weight of the world lifted off his shoulders. Still early days, still lots to do, but if you have the Todd Cantwell of 2.5 years ago playing at this football club, it's a £20 million player, isn't it? So it would be just a wonderful thing to see. So fingers crossed that keeps hold. Dean Smith also notably bigging up Josh Sargent's performances, and he's certainly working hard. I'd like to see more quality, if I'm honest, but I can see that he's trying. And Adam Eder got 45 minutes today as well, and it's interesting because Dean Smith said he looks strong, he's been working, and to me he looks a bit heavy, but I just maybe want to, I just need to see more of him, and also he's not going to be sharp yet because he's still working his way back, because if he's actually just looks stronger and he's still got that pace and power, then he can be a real handful. So yeah, fingers crossed. We already know it's a big season for Adam Eder. I think there were the more cases in points. I wouldn't want to really sort of pick up on anyone else who did particularly well or not well. Liam Gibbs continues to look an able member of this squad. It just may not be room for him at the end of it, but he is doing very well. And yeah, probably the only other thing to pick up on is that Dean Smith did say after the game today that Gabriel Sara will be hopefully training with the first team squad on Monday once they get back from Scotland, and then they'll have a look at him, which would be interesting because it would kind of mean that he would be in contention to feature in the squad for the Cardiff game. So I don't know if there's a sense of being particularly patient with him. I think they're just going to go for it, but it'll obviously depend on where he looks when he's in first team training with the players. So maybe we'll see how that all looks as it comes along. I'm just going to move out this door before the guy closes it. Oh no, I can walk around that way, can't I? So that's all good. Thank you. He wasn't very cheery. So there we go. Bye bye the Abbey Stadium. No one got injured. I think the last time I was here. Alex Pritchard and Tim Closer were both stretchered off, and that was the end of their seasons. It's just like that. So at least we didn't have any of that. There were other chances and things, but all we know is that Norwich are now 2 friendlies away from the start of the Championship, and that trip to Cardiff. So it's all coming closer, and Norwich are getting close to figuring out what it all looks like. The thing that does slightly interest me is, can Norwich go into the season with 4 strikers as they have? Seems like a lot. I mean, they did play a 4-2-4 basically at the start tonight, and I think it sort of evolved into a 4-1-3-2 and other bits. But it's interesting that they've tried that tonight. So yeah, there's a few things they've tried out. I'm really looking forward to going to Celtic because it's somewhere I've always wanted to go. So I'm looking forward to that on Saturday. Then Easter Road on Sunday, where I have been already, but it'll be nice to see a game there. But that is it from the Abbey. I'm done for pre-season in England. And in fact, the actual season starts in Wales, doesn't it? In the meantime, take care of yourselves, look after each other, stay cool, do whatever you can over the course of this hot week until it is like 19 degrees and we're wondering where the summer's gone. Yeah, see you very soon. Au revoir, and I'll see you off in Scotland. Good night.